Seems that another thing that Trump was right about was NATO spending. Trump basically asked NATO countries to spend over 2% of their economy, GDP, on defense. And of course, the NATO countries said, no, we're not going to listen to the big bad orange man. The only countries that did were Poland, which is for, well, I think we all know why, Greece because of Turkey, Croatia, Lithuania, and the Baltic states are countries that spend most of their economy. That, and of course, America themselves. But you look at the thing, it seems that Trump was completely correct about that. UK, I think the UK, Poland, Greece, which mostly ramped up, and of course Estonia, and the Baltic states, I think, ramped up their spending because of Russia. But now the UK, okay, the only country that really ever passed it when Trump was president was the Baltic states. I think were the countries that listened to Trump. But basically, Trump was right about NATO spending. Trump was right, and if you see what's happening in Ukraine, but Europe does not really spend that much of the GDP percent for military spending. China does, Russia does, Saudi Arabia does, but not NATO. Despite being some of the most powerful militaries in the world, NATO did not really spend that much money on defense. Okay, because they thought, who now? We won't need it. America's gonna have our back forever. It seems that finally they're admitting that Trump was right about NATO contribution. Germany to raise spending to 2%. And the UK was already about it, but it seems that NATO is finally gonna finally spend the money on defense. And if they do, that could scare Russia away because Germany and France alone have the same more population, have around the same population as Russia. Okay, yes, Russia's military is strong, but NATO, oh yeah, what to say about Russia and Belarus, okay, and Kazakhstan, and Azerbaijan, which is Russia's newest ally, okay, UK, France, Spain, and Germany alone can probably beat Russia's military if they spent the money, of course, on defense instead of just spending the money on other things like developing their economy and stuff. Which again, a lot of these NATO countries are already very well developed countries. And of course, you're gonna have those people memes. Oh my God, Germany is going back to Mustache Man days. But it's really because of Russia. Germany is finally really understanding that, hey, NATO needs to spend their money on military, or else Russia might roll us over. Because NATO won't spend their money on military. What the US does, 3% of the GDP, but I think the only other country that does this is Greece. And that's mostly because Greece is scared of Turkey. Even though the funny thing is Turkey is a part of NATO. But Greece still does not. Greece and Turkey still don't like each other. But Poland, I think, still spends over 2%. France spends barely over 2%. Of course, the UK has been spending over 2%. And of course, many Eastern European countries already spend over 2%, mostly because of fear of Russia, especially Romania, Poland, and the Baltics, which may soon all border Russia, because if the Russia takes over all of Ukraine or makes Ukraine a puppet state, what they're gonna do? They can't. They have to raise the. They have to raise the defenses on as well. Well, so which means it's another thing that Trump was right about. NATO spending. Of course, Luxembourg and Iceland don't have to spend because they don't really have many people. But now Europe is finally realizing that, hey, we have to spend more money on our military. And not spend very little. Okay. And And of course, again, not, and of course, Trump was right about NATO spending. Trump was completely right about this. Russia, and especially under a very weak President Joe Biden, Russia's gonna take this opportunity because Europe, they have a bunch of weak leaders. They completely cow down to Russia and other powers like China, even though Russia and China are not friends with Europe and of course North America. Hey, look at the spending on like Korea, Japan. Well, Japan, they have been increasing the defense spending because of China and North Korea. Japan is now, like, for example, Japan has been, I think, increasing the defense spending over the past years because of North Korea, because of China. But again, China has their own banking system and everything. But Japan has been consecutively raising their defense spending each year because of North Korea and China and Russia. Japan has been raising the military spending each year. That's because of these countries. Because of China, North Korea, and Russia. So, and of course, Korea's spending is very high. And now Germany is going to be around 114 billion in defense spending. And of course, China and India are constantly increasing theirs as well. I think China's defense budget is actually getting larger and larger, and America's is kind of like shrinking. Which China has spent the second most on the military in the world. So that's basically about this video. Goodbye.